stop comparing yourself to other people. You're only on this planet to be you.
The first thing I think you need to understand is that these people that you're comparing yourself to, you don't really know very well. What that means is that you see their shiny outside, but you don't see the reality of their life.
Social media just shows the highlights, right? We live in a time where perception has become our God. And I know this might seem over the top, but we really live in a time where perception has become our God. People are more concerned about the perception of them than the reality of them. They want to make people think they're a certain way than letting the world see how they truly are, right? A lot of insecurity, a lot of significance things that are driven in that whole conversation.
I went on Instagram the other day and I saw Kevin Hart and I felt like a failure in my whole life. I felt like, what am I doing with my whole life? Within 15 seconds, here I am with a burden on me that I wasn't built for by comparing myself to someone with a different calling.
That little moment that I stopped pretending allowed the real me to come through. Your life journey is about learning to become more of who you are and fulfilling the highest, truest expression of yourself as a human being. That's why you're here.
The ideal that you're observing that makes you jealous and resentful is in large part an illusion that's created by your own mind. You have to be careful of what you're jealous of because you don't really know what it is. And then the other thing that's kind of useful is to understand that you're different from everyone else.
You see the person traveling the world, you see the person making moves with their life, all these things, and instead of those things inspiring us, sometimes, it discourages us because it makes us think that we aren't where we should be. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we can make is comparing our lives to other people's lives, because you have to understand something. Your journey is your journey. We all have different paths in life, and the more we compare our journey to other people's journey, the more we'll appreciate our path of our lives.
You see people in the health world, fitness world. God, how did they get a six-pack? Oh, you gave me a tire around my waist. What happens every time I compare, I feel less than. Never compare your becoming to someone else's becoming. Every time I compare myself to someone else, I'm always going to lose my way, because the gap that God is filling in my life is not the gap between me and you, but rather the gap that God is filling in my life is who I currently am and who he's calling me to become.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not to who someone else is today. See, that's a game you can win. You could be a little better today than you were yesterday, and that's a good thing. No doubt there are some things that you could improve. If you sit and meditate for any length of time about what you're not doing optimally, answers will spring to mind.
I should be doing what God has called me to do. I should be doing what's best for my life. Because if we pull back the curtains on a lot of people's lives, who knows? Your life could be a lot better than theirs. You might be thanking God that you're not in their shoes. You're wishing to be in their shoes, but once you get in their shoes, you realize that their walk, their path, their journey is a lot harder than yours. And what they were showing you was just something that you can perceive to be great, something that you can perceive to be good, something that you can perceive to be successful. We live in a world full of fakeness.
So I believe that whatever season you find yourself in, married, unmarried, single, divorced, is complicated. I believe you can walk in security. Be the minority, because the majority is overrated. We're living in a day and age right now where so many people, they bow down to the culture. And we just start doing what the crowd is doing, whatever the crowd says to do. So many of us, we're just doing things that we don't even agree with or believe in simply because our friends are doing it. The only problem with that notion is that your friends don't have the life that you want.
Don't have a weak mentality. You weren't created to fall apart when pressure comes. You are stronger than you think. You are more anointed than you think. God designed you with special strength, with courage, with fortitude. When you start seeing yourself as strong, empowered, well able, you won't be overwhelmed. You'll discover strength that you didn't know you had.
So if you want to do something, if you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing that you're seeking. Decide that you're going to face it, that whatever shortcomings you have, that you're going to strengthen yourself there. Whatever training is required, that you're going to go get that training, that you're going to get started right now. Do what you can, where you are with what you have, and never be satisfied. Always strive to be more than that which you are. Yeah, don't get satisfied with yourself. Always know that wherever you are, you can enjoy more, that you deserve more.
True leadership is self-discovery. True leadership begins with an individual discovering something about themselves. That's when it really begins. And you will never become a true leader until you are introduced to yourself.
Actually, whatever happened to you that was hard, if you trust God, you can actually end up being a better person than you would have been if it would have never happened. And so God really wants us to take a real positive attitude toward things. And it's hard. It's hard when you're hurting.
Well, how do we build this self-confidence? The process of building self-confidence is actually very easy. Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself, that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you. Somebody with self-confidence has a reputation with themselves that I do the things I say I'm going to do. That's where self-confidence comes from. When I meet someone who's not self-confident, I know this is someone who has consistently made promises to themselves they've not kept. They've made a commitment and goals to go make a certain amount of money in business. And so they have a process and a habit in their life, more often than not, of not keeping the promises they don't make to other people. They don't keep the promises they make to themselves.
You're letting the situation overwhelm you. You think it's unbearable, but I'm here to tell you, you've got what it takes. You're courageous, you're talented, you're favored, you're well able. You weren't created to survive, but to thrive. When things that should be unbearable, you've tapped into strength that you didn't know you had. You still accomplish great dreams. Don't go your whole life and never discover what's in you. You are stronger than you think.
You got to take care of the small disciplines before life will give you a chance to handle the more complicated disciplines. So you start first with the smallest of disciplines. And do not neglect them and do not disregard them as being trifling. Everything matters. Everything's important. All disciplines affect each other. Everything affects everything else. It's so easy to be casual and say, well, this doesn't matter. I'm telling you, everything matters. Then here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects all your other disciplines.
Now, self-discipline, the first thing it does is it enables you to go uphill. Nobody will carry you uphill. Nobody can coach you uphill. Nobody can push you uphill. You got to do it yourself. There are no free rides uphill. There's no such thing as accidental achievements.
So for all of us out there that are chasing after these big dreams and big goals, and we are making changes in our life to get better, all of us out there who know deep down we can do a little bit more in our life, I want to ask you, what is your definition of success? A lot of people put success on this mountaintop and they say, I'll feel successful when I get here, when I make this amount of money, when I find this person. And a lot of people don't understand that success is all around them right now.
What would happen in your marriage, your relationships, if you'd make a small attitude adjustment? Instead of being contentious, you'd start being friendly, loving, respectful. Instead of saying harsh, critical words, you'd start giving compliments. Just a small adjustment. Getting your attitude a little higher, watch those relationships begin to improve. Or maybe you've had bad breaks. Life hasn't treated you fair. And it's easy to get sour. That's a nose down attitude. You're choosing the direction you're going to go. Why don't you tilt it a little nose high? Yes, it was unfair, but I know God is my vindicator.
Step up your activity level. Step up your labor level. Go for the disciplines, the smallest of disciplines, the least of disciplines. If you'll be faithful, if you'll be disciplined when the amounts are small, will make you a ruler, give you a position of authority when the amounts are many. Take care of your disciplines when the amounts are small, and then life will see to it that you get some extraordinary numbers to work with. Let us not neglect. Do not neglect the smallest of disciplines, and build on that foundation, and you can have everything you could possibly want.
Every multimillionaire and every multi-billionaire in this world have all decided that I'm going to commit myself to this career, this vision, this goal. No parties. They're going to call you names. They're going to say you're corny. They're going to call you a square. Those are the characteristics of a champion. Those are the characteristics of someone that have said that I have decided that I'm going to create a shift in this universe.
Don't ask for better seed and soil. All you got's what's available. Don't curse what you got. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Commit yourself to learning so that you can get smarter for the days ahead. Those that do the work get the pay. Don't violate the conclusions of your own philosophy by not executing and taking action.
Managing my mind is actually the key to peace and the key to happiness. An unmanaged mind leads to tension. A managed mind leads to tranquility. An unmanaged mind leads to pressure. A managed mind leads to peace. An unmanaged mind leads to stress. If you don't manage your thoughts, you just let them go all over the place. You don't ever even try to control your mind and the way you direct your thoughts. But a managed mind leads to strength and leads to security and leads to serenity.
As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Why? Here's why. Because the heart is the Hebrew word that has to do with the center of reasoning. It's the place where you have meetings with yourself. Because that's where your belief system is hidden. In other words, your heart is also, Paul calls it the hidden man. The psychologists would call it your subconscious mind. I call it your hard drive.
Get going. You got to get going. You got to take action. Don't let neglect destroy your days, destroy your life, and destroy your future. Go back and do what you can. And if you'll do what you can, then life will give you some extraordinary things to do.
I can't wait to go to work today. It may not be the job I want, but at least I got a job. I'm sure grateful I got a car to drive to work today. Hey, man, at least I got a check coming in. I sure want to thank you, Lord, for this roof over my head today. I appreciate the fact that I don't have a car, but at least I can walk to the train. Man, this is going to be great today. You have got to change the way you think. It is the whole determining factor of where you go in life. We are all where we are today because we thought ourselves to this position.
If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write, today, I'm going to decide to not die before I die. I want you to share this video. It's not lonely at the top if you help somebody else get there.
Freedom lies in the courage and the discipline of daring to attempt what others fear.
So I want you to look yourself in the mirror today. I want you to think about your life. I want you to appreciate your life. And as best as you can, because I know it's easier said than done, because we all do it at times, I want you to stop comparing your life. And then when you do compare your life, I want you to have a fact that makes you stop comparing your life. I want you to have a fact about that and make you stop comparing your life, because the more we scroll, the more I feel like a lot of people start to feel less about themselves. A lot of people start feeling more depressed. Do you understand? Negativity, you can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. You know, I get tired sometimes because I get mentally drained from my job at times. But to coach your mind from negativity is with one simple thing: gratitude. Gratitude erases negativity.
You want to walk in security? You want to walk in who you are? You got to decide who you are. You got to define who you are. You got to put some value and some worth on who you are.
What do we say? But there'll always be tomorrow. Oh, no. There's no guarantees you're going to show up tomorrow. There are a lot of people who were here yesterday that they're not here today. Oh, you can wait, but you know what Abraham Lincoln said? Well, good things might come to those who wait, but only the things that have been left over by those who hustle. You deserve much more than that. So take it head on, begin to explore. Here's something else. Decide to do it now. Decide whatever you want to do, that you are now going to become actively involved right now, exploring the possibilities for you.
Don't be a slave to views. Don't be a slave to followers. Be a slave to likes. Don't be a slave to popularity. Don't be a slave to any of those things. Because at the end of the day, the result of that is going to be this. You're going to die, okay? Because we're all going to die one day, unfulfilled. Because you lived a life full of pleasing everybody else. You lived a life full of making everybody else happy except yourself.
Most of you, you're so consumed with everything that's going on in the world. This is the reasons you haven't figured out your own life yet. Every blog, every website, every tweet, every Instagram post, any and everything that's going on in the world, you are so consumed with everything that's going on in the world, you're ignoring your own world. You can never shine trying to sit on someone else's sun.
Find out who you're associating with. If those people add something to you, if they give you something in return, or is it all just a give and take, meaning like they just take and then you give? That's a bad relationship, man. Get the negative energy out of life. These people that you're around, they're always complaining and everything else, they're taking part of your soul. You only have so much to give every single day. Why waste it on that, guys? You gotta love yourself in order to love somebody else, guys. You gotta be whole and happy with who you are if you never help somebody else out. People say, oh, it's selfish to just care about yourself. Well, if you need some fixing and reworking, it's not selfish, because you can get yourself better and then be able to really lend a hand in an honest way to somebody to really help them out.
Here's the key to the good life. Learn to put everything you've got into everything you do. Whatever you are doing, pour it on. It will quickly open up into opportunity or quickly disclose to you that you ought to be doing something else. Here's the next attitude disease: indecision, mental paralysis. The guy can't make up his mind and it becomes a disease. Pretty soon he knows he's got it. A life full of adventure is a life full of many decisions. The ones that turn out to be wrong give you better experience to make better decisions. So don't see how many decisions you can get out of, see how many you can get into. That's where the adventure is. So shake off this disease, indecision. The next one is doubt. And one of the worst is self-doubt. There are many, but that's one of the worst. The guy doubts himself, doubts if he can do that well, doubts if he can make that much, doubts if he can accomplish all that. A chronic, excellent self-doubter. You can imagine what damage that does to your future. So here's the key. Turn this coin over and become a believer. And there's many things to believe in. One of the majors is yourself. The understanding of self-worth is the beginning of progress.
How do you keep the faith? How do you keep your head above water? How do you march against the tide? How do you stand up when everybody around you seems to be falling down? How do you keep firm and solid footing when everything underneath you seems to be slipping away? How do you keep the faith? You've got to be born again. And when you're born again, there's some things you just have to take. Just some things you have to stand up under. There's just some fights you're going to have.
Instead of just looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, my biggest concern, my greatest competition is you. Right there, the person in the mirror that you see every single day, because I refuse to make the world happy and I'm dying inside. Any gain is not worth losing yourself. Period.
Nothing happens without leadership. Nothing happens without leadership. Nothing changes without leadership. Nothing develops without someone taking leadership. Nothing improves in any situation without leadership. Nothing is corrected without leadership. If something is not right in an environment, someone has to emerge and take the leadership.
I don't think I'm good enough. These are thoughts placed from the outside inside your mind. The minute you acknowledge that, that's not my thought, that's someone else's. you begin to eliminate, I call it like scratching the CD. When I begin to have negative self-talk, negative thoughts, I literally picture an old record player or a DVD and I just scratch it.
If you're working on your dream, sure there are going to be times you're going to want to give up. Sure there'll be times in life will knock you down and catch you on the blind side. But the challenge is to hold on. And if you hold on tenaciously, I say the universe is on your side. A way will come out of nowhere. Someone will step forward and help you. Just a blessing. Who are you? I don't know, but thank you for coming.
Nothing advances without leadership. Nothing succeeds without leadership. We are always being led by someone, whether we think so or not.
I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not fast enough, strong enough. I'm not prepared enough. Once they enter, that's not my thought. That's something someone gave me when I was a kid, and I scratch it. And I literally say to myself, scratch it, scratch it. And over time, it's like a DVD or a CD or a record player. That thought can't be played again in your recorder when you scratch it enough times. So I literally picture scratching it, and I say, scratch it.
You know, they tell you that the best way to eat is to eat just little every couple hours rather than to eat big meals and then go long hours without eating. Constantly, just kind of nibble your way through the day, eating the right food that keeps your blood sugar level and all things like that. Same is true with truth. If you're constantly thinking about truth, it's going to renew your mind. It's going to change your mind.
So when you fear life, you are malfunctioning. So I'm afraid of nothing. I'm telling you, literally, I'm afraid of nothing. That makes me dangerous. A fearless man is a dangerous man. I'm not afraid of death. And that's the highest threat you can give me. And I'm not afraid of death. And you'll find that all true leaders have no fear of death. As a matter of fact, they have an affair with death.
You have to recognize if you're trying to eliminate all risks from your life, what you're actually doing is eliminating all possibility from your life. You're trying to collapse the universe of outcomes such that what you've lost is freedom. You've lost the ability to act because you're afraid.
Patience. There's a type of person for whom everything is undertaken out of desire to achieve a goal. They exercise in order to get in shape. They start a business in order to make money. I'm sure that some of these people are very successful, and they are certainly highly organized. A person of truly strong character sees success as an adventure, not as a point with an estimated time of arrival. Impatient thinking can lead a person into some very big mistakes. When you are always looking somewhere else, whether it's down the road or up toward the top of the mountain or off toward the left field fence, when you're looking off in the distance like that, you often miss what's under your very own nose. That means the pleasure and fun of living which come in the here and now get overlooked for something that not only isn't here yet, but might never arrive. True patience is more than just a waiting game. Patience doesn't mean you sit around hoping for something to happen. Patience is not a passive quality. Sometimes patience can mean doing something else entirely, thinking about another venture, taking off in a different direction while you give events a chance to run their course.
And if you really take the time to think about what you're afraid of, you're going to realize that fear is not only irrelevant, it is a tremendous advantage. Fear is the ultimate tool to leverage pressure on yourself to succeed. When you're afraid of failing, when you're afraid of people laughing at you, when you're afraid of losing everything, guess what happens? You do the fucking work to make that not happen. Fear is a tremendous tool. And not only should it be embraced, you have to learn to use it. Being afraid is the best fucking thing you could ever have for yourself when it comes to turning that into energy, to have drive, to have ambition, to have progress in your life. But you've got to take that first step. You've got to take that first action. And if you don't ever take that first action, fear will paralyze you to a point of you becoming nothing, being nothing, standing for nothing, and basically being irrelevant your whole entire life. You know how you get fucking confidence? By fucking attacking your fear and overcoming your fear. there's a big misconception out there that people who are successful are not afraid. But I disagree. I think people who are successful are the most afraid because they're going to run the hardest, they're going to run the fastest, and they're going to be the ones who are going to take every single action that they have to take to make sure they get where they need to be, and at the very least, that they don't go back to where they were.
Chẳng được quên khi cơn mưa đêm lại về. Em đã quên lời thề và ta như đông chìm sâu. Không còn mơ em anh nhận màu. Em chỉ cần mơ đâu em bay. Chỉ còn là những cơn mưa vô giá. Cho bên mơ em không mơ anh. Anh một đêm mơ chỉ cần bên em không được còn nhớ. Và chỉ có không còn nhớ. Và người ta bên nhau như ngã tớ. Muốn nhớ về say em chỉ có mấy em ở đây. Và anh như muốn chết đi nhưng không muốn em mơ mày. Tình yêu làm cho ta đau đầu. Không em như nằm mơ màu. Anh như đeo mong cầu. Và vui bên em ngô sầu. Chào cả mắt mai em mơ. Chỉ có bên em nhưng là khó mơ. Nhưng mà đang dài em muốn bên ai. Anh không mong gì hơn. Chỉ mong em sẽ ở đây ôm anh thật gần. Anh chỉ mong đôi ta được có nhau. Mà đừng em đâu anh có em. Muốn em bên anh có em. Ta sẽ trao nhau môi hôn thật sâu. Ôm anh.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars. Crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah,
I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe.
So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? Sometimes you need to let loose, grab juice, get goose, tattoos, taboos, get screwed. Loosen up, buttercup, all those hate comments will never make you feel enough. We're all adequate graduates, heart full of calluses, but we know calculus. Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't.